Hey everyone, welcome to the Untrivial Podcast. My name is Allie Nelson. If you're tuning in on video, you will see that I am in my brand new baby home studio. I'm so excited that I finally have this space. It feels a little bit more real. And so all of my podcasts from now on will be recorded from here, which I'm just so excited about. It's still in the works a little bit. I want to add a few more things, but this is it. I'm so excited and I hope you guys are having a great week. Today is a solo episode, and I am really excited to talk a little bit more about motherhood with you all. If you follow on Instagram, you'll see I posted a poll and like a story just about Chapel Roan on Call Her Daddy. And if you're not familiar with the clip, Chapel Roan basically says that all of her friends who have kids are miserable. They've lost the light in their eyes. It's like a very sad sounding thing as she's describing these women who have children. And I'm not one who like is mad at Chapel Roan for saying that. I think what she's saying is true for her and maybe her friends who are her age. And again, I think she's a little bit younger than me. I think she's like 27 or 28. She's saying her friends, like, that's their reality or that's her interpretation of their reality. And it just brought up an interesting point around the branding of motherhood and what people who have children or don't have children think the experience of motherhood will be like or is like. And it's such a tricky conversation anyway, just because if the majority of women do choose to have children, you can't have a through line experience of motherhood with that wide of a population. Like there's just too many different factors that will impact your experience of motherhood. But overall, like what I'm getting the sense of is that people think motherhood is really negative. And so I did a poll on Instagram and I asked basically everyone if whether you have kids or you don't, do you think motherhood needs a rebrand? And the options were nope, it's portrayed negatively and it is. No, it's portrayed positively and it is. Yes, it's portrayed too negatively and it's not. And yes, it's portrayed too positively and it's not. And an overwhelming majority, I think like 70% of people said that it was portrayed too negatively for what it is. And so I tend to agree. Like, I think in my experience leading up to having my baby, what I was consuming and like the content that I was fed online, and again, I was just seeking out information on motherhood, it is overwhelmingly negative. It is overwhelmingly talking about the challenges and the hard parts and the bad days and all of the downsides of becoming a mom. And I just want to preface by saying that's so important. I think it's really great that moms feel comfortable to share the real, raw, unhappy truth sometimes of what some days can look like as a mom. I'm not trying to demonize people who are sharing the tough parts of being a parent because there are plenty that is reality and that's totally okay. I think it's necessary and it really does feel like a counteraction to what it used to be in the 50s, 60s, 70s where you couldn't say anything negative about what it was like being a parent or a homemaker. Motherhood was only talked about as the best thing and it was perfect and you were perfect and your family was perfect and anything that wasn't perfect was considered a personal failure. And so no women really wanted to discuss any difficulties that they were going through, and that is a trap and bad in its own right. Whereas today we are very lucky in a sense because we know the realities of parenting. We can have these raw and real conversations so that people who are looking for information about the realities of motherhood or parenthood can find it, and they do. Like me, like I don't think I went into motherhood based on all the information I was looking at, being unaware of the harsh realities of what that can look like for people and what that could look like for me. But where I think we might have gone wrong now is that we're kind of only having conversations around the challenges and the struggles. Like if someone said in a TikTok online, like, "Oh my gosh, great news, like, my kid is sleeping through the night," guaranteed there's gonna be so many comments like, "Good for you. We'll see how long that lasts," or, like, just something kind of shamey and shitty, and it's like this silencing of good things that are happening for moms. Um, we're not celebrating when someone's having a good experience or a positive experience with some of these experiences that for other people are difficult and for some are not. And it's like, if you're struggling, you can talk about it. If you're not struggling, don't say anything because you might upset a mom who is struggling. And that is the thing I struggle with. Like, there's a creator and she's really funny. I really love her stuff, and, like, one of the bits she does is, like, she'll be playing the most insufferable mom that you see at the park, and all it is her saying positive things that are happening in this, like, character with her baby. She'll be like, "Oh, yeah, like, my baby had no problem latching when I started breastfeeding," or, "No, like, my baby is crawling right on schedule with their milestones," and it's just, like, these innocuous things that are just positive experiences that could happen to someone in motherhood, and yet the bit is literally called "The Most Insufferable Mom at the Park." It's like, when did being able to share the joys of motherhood become insufferable? Like, I can't wrap my head around it, and I feel like with social media and with content creation, people obviously really like vulnerability. They like people who are real and honest. So that might be one reason why there's more people who are talking about things that aren't just like great. I think maybe people don't want to be seen as like bragging if they're talking about good things that are happening to them in motherhood. But I also think people need to process things negatively more often. I don't think you need to process and like outwardly communicate necessarily all positive things. Whereas if you're going through something hard, sometimes it's helpful to process in community or with others that hard thing that you're going through. And so I think there's a lot of reasons why we've shifted so far in the other direction. But I really do think there's elements of it that are actually quite negative. And I think it's especially true in terms of impact for women who are considering becoming mothers because they are the ones weighing that decision. They're unsure if they're going to make the right decision. Should I do it? Should I not? Is it worth it? How can I know? You can't know until you do it. And once you do it, it's too late to go back. And so it's such a huge decision and people take it so seriously. And so when you're trying to fact find and gather information about motherhood, all you're seeing right now are these really, really hard things that a lot of people experience in motherhood. But what you're not seeing or hearing about is all the joy or even just balancing it with the fact that maybe a lot of these negative experiences won't apply to you based on whatever other factors are applicable to your life versus their life. Like, it's just not balanced and it's not reflective of the reality of motherhood anymore. And for me, like, I wonder if any listeners have heard of the girl with the list. It's like this thing on TikTok. If you search it, the girl with the list, it is like this probably like 1,000 entry list of all of these reasons why motherhood is bad or something bad that can happen to you as a parent or a mom. And it's all of these things that she's like crowdsourced from other mothers on TikTok who are talking about something difficult. And like reading something like that or hearing something like that, like, of course, like as someone who's weighing that decision, you're going to be terrified that you're blowing up your life and you're ruining your life if that's what you're consuming. I really wish for me, like when I was pregnant and weighing my decision, I really, really wish I saw more positive portrayals and content and information about motherhood than I did. Like, I was aware of every single negative thing that could go wrong, and I had no real tangible understanding of all the positives. Like, I had an idea. Obviously, people tell you it's incredible, it's amazing, it's so hard to describe, like, it's so intangible, whereas some of the negatives are really real. Like you can say like, "Oh, I had this emergency C-section." Like that feels like a much more real thing versus, "Oh, like your heart grows." It's so different. It's so different. But yeah, I think the biggest thing I wanna say is just about the silencing and the self-censorship that happens with mothers who are experiencing great things or moments of ease when it comes to raising their baby, who don't tell anyone because they don't want to upset other moms. For example, in the early days of having my baby, like he's gone through sleep regressions since, but when he was like a newborn, he was sleeping really well. Like we did not have a tough time with his sleep. And I told one of my close friends that, and she literally told me, "Don't tell other moms that. Like, I hope you don't say that out loud to other people." And I was kind of taken aback because it's like, this is the true experience for me. Why can't I share the reality of what's going on for me? It's not to say that everything's easy, but like, can I celebrate this good thing when I've heard it's really hard? And guess what? Actually, we've had like this good experience with it. But it's like you can't share it if it's positive because it's not going to be received well by other moms, supposedly. But it just got me thinking, like, would we ever normalize that about other successes in our day-to-day life when someone else was going through something hard? Like, if you weren't loving your job, would you want your friend to self-censor and not tell you if they got a promotion at work? Like, would you genuinely want that? Or would you say, no, like, I'd still want to celebrate her success. And, like, yes, it sucks right now that I don't love my job, but I'd still want to be happy for her. Or, like, if you were going through a hard time with your partner, you didn't know if you guys were going to break up or take the next step, whatever, and someone was like moving in with their partner. Would you be pissed that they told you? Would you be mad? Would you shame them for telling you that? Like, would you say, good for you, if it's genuinely your friend? Like, I just don't my hope is that people don't operate that way in their day-to-day life, so it's like, why is that a thing when it comes to being a mom? Like, I wish we could get to a place with motherhood where we can simultaneously have something difficult and challenging going on while also holding joy and celebrating when others are going through something great with the same thing. And it's like, just because someone's baby is talking doesn't mean you're a bad mom if your baby's not talking yet. Or just because someone else's baby goes to sleep early doesn't mean you're a bad mom because because your baby doesn't. Like, I think a lot of it is about, in the kindest way, like, trying not to have moms self-blame and feel like they're the problem and they're the reason something's going wrong, because if someone else can do it and they're having a fine time with it, like, then what's wrong with me? I think is the dialogue that we're trying to, like, protect moms from, and I love that that's probably the reason, but I think in doing that, we're actually doing motherhood overall a disservice, and new moms a disservice, and just moms in general who wanna share the realities of their life a disservice. And so if we can build up a little bit more compassion for ourselves and remove the self-blame and the self-guilt and kind of work on regulating that, like, my baby's unique, my baby is different. If I care this much to even listen to this podcast or have these types of conversations with my friends, like, surely I care enough that I'm trying to do all the right things. And like, you're not the reason that you're having a hard time necessarily. Like, some babies are just colicky. Some babies just have a different temperament, and like, that's okay. It's not your fault. And so yeah, I think the well-meaning refraining from talking about the happy moments in motherhood, I think is skewing the perception of what motherhood looks like overall and the brand of it. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it both? Yes, I think everyone thinks there's hard parts and great parts, but I think we're leaning too heavily on the fact that we're highlighting and communicating so many of the hard parts while we're not really talking as much, or silencing and we're mocking people who are talking about the good parts. And so I think that needs to change. And again, it's not to say stop talking about the hard parts, because again, that's so important. But what I just wish is that, like, all conversations were welcome. Hard, easy, good, bad, wins, losses, like, judgment-free. Everyone was allowed to say what was going on for them with that particular thing as it relates to being a parent. It's funny too, even in the conversations about the hard parts, everyone always prefaces, I find so many moms say like, you know, I love my kids more than anything. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but, and then they move into their like XYZ struggle, complaint, thing that's going on for them. And it's so bizarre that like, I love my kids more than anything. It's almost like a throwaway line. They kind of like, yeah, 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 da, da, but this is what's really going on. And it just like made me think about that statement. If you slow it down and you listen to that statement, I love my kid more than anything. I love my kid more than my partner, more than myself, more than my job, more than my life, more than anything. And they mean that. That is so profound. Like, that is incredible. That is crazy. You love this being more than literally anything in the world, and you would never trade it at all. And it just makes me think, like, we should give more time and space to that as a concept, that as a conversation. Like we rush past this thing that is saying this is the most important thing I've ever done and will ever do, essentially, because I care about it more than anything in the world. And you're just going to like run past that to talk about how your coffee was cold. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I just wish people who weren't moms yet would hear that story or hear that conversation and give a little more pause to that introduction and put a little more weight on that introduction before they blow up and freak out about the cold coffee thing or the fact that they didn't get a lot of sleep the night before as a mom. Like, put it in perspective with that weight. I don't think people are paying attention to the beginning of that sentence. But the other thing I wish too is that there wasn't so much judgment about the idea of being really proud of being a wife and a mom. And I think some like a little bit of like modern feminism, if you were to be like, well, I'm a wife and a mother first and da 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 da, you'd probably have some women kind of like rolling their eyes or being like, okay. And like they have this idea that you've put forward an identity that hinges on like servitude, like you're serving your kids and your partner, and like that's inherently anti-feminist or like not progressive, or like the fact that you value that is like, eye roll. And I like that boggles my mind as well, because it's like, again, all these women are saying, I love my kids more than anything. We have no problem now saying, and like the science backs it up, that like who you choose as a spouse is the most important decision you'll make for your happiness in your life. And so it's like, we know how important these decisions are and how important these people are to us in our lives. But if we're proud to say it and we say that those things are the most important to us, you're almost seen as like a 1950s housewife. And I can't shake that either. Like when I think of someone who is like, I'm a wife and a mother, I just think of someone who's so family oriented, who is a leader in their household, who is a caregiver, who is thoughtful, who is super organized, who is super resilient, has so much grit, so much energy and capacity, and is able to multitask and is able to self regulate and has so much patience and can do literally anything. And it's like, that's what I want people to think of when they think of what a mom is and can be and what a wife is and can be. Like, there is so much skill and development and evolution that comes from starting a family and having to look after a tiny human. And it is something to be proud of. And it's not anti-feminist, and it's not like a notion of 50s housewife. Like, it is so incredibly expansive to who someone is, to who a woman is, to become a mom. And I just wish more people thought about it that way. And like, no judgment, I definitely was someone who thought about that before. Like in my earlier 20s, if someone like led with that, I'd be like, okay, like, what about your job? What about your interests? What about travel? What about your hobbies? And it's like, yep, all of those things are important too. And when you become a mom, nothing is more important than your baby. Like, it just isn't. And like, hopefully, as a mom, you can still prioritize and make time for and create a schedule in a way that allows for those hobbies and your work and travel and like all of those things. Like, I don't think your whole identity needs to be wrapped up in being a mom. I think it is a huge part of a woman's identity once they become a mom, but it's not everything and it doesn't need to be. And it also ebbs and flows depending on where you're at in that motherhood journey. Like, if you have a newborn, 99% of your time is spent with that baby. You are going to feel so much more like motherhood is your identity at that point in your motherhood journey versus a mom who has a teenager who's pretty independent, pretty self reliant, and they are back at work. They're not changing diapers. They're not up 3, 4 times a night caring for their teenager. Like it's such a different time, and you're going to feel really different about your identity and who you are based on how demanding motherhood is at that point in your life. And, like, that's really something I had to learn because I definitely thought like, "Oh, I'm not gonna let motherhood, like, change everything about me, and I'm gonna still try and, like, live my life the way it is," and very quickly, I noticed, like, a lot of things did change. I still do make time for things like, this podcast and school, and, like, I wanna keep elements of my life outside of motherhood, but it's really hard to, like, try and juggle all of that, and if you don't, you can really feel like motherhood is what you're doing and, like, true. Yeah, and that's great, that's incredible. So funny, like, at first, I was like, I'm even with my Instagram, like, I don't wanna post with my baby all the time, like, I still wanna be me, like, I'm still my own person, and, like, every single post I post is, like, my family and me and my baby, and, like, it just is. And I realized it's like, well, yeah, like, that is, like, my life 99% of the time. Like, if I were to be posting moments when I'm alone or just with friends, that's, like, so infrequent compared to the amount of time and what I'm doing in my life where I'm with my baby and holding my baby. Like, my Instagram now with my child is just reflective of my reality, and that's always what I want it to be, but it's just funny that I thought, like, I don't know, that I would still be, like, posting non-mothery stuff, and it's like, sometimes I do, but a lot of times I don't, because a lot of times I'm in mom mode, and so it's just the reality of my life. And now I don't judge anyone who's like, "This is my baby, this is my child, this is what we're doing," like, what I live for it. I live I live for seeing what the families are doing and what your kid is doing, because I think on the other end of it, you're like, "Oh my god, well, like, my friends or, like, people on Instagram, like, be bored of my content or unfollow me because it's like I'm at a park instead of, like, a bar in the city." And it's like, if they actually care about you or if you're actually friends, then they'll know this is your life, and if they're like, "Oh my god, she's just a mom now," those aren't your people, and they don't really understand how life evolves when you become a parent, which is okay. They might not know, and maybe one day when they become a parent, they will. Um, but it doesn't matter, and you shouldn't care. I think too the judgment around moms re-entering the workforce, this notion that they are like less than or less capable as a mom, and it's like this person is raising a human being. If you want leadership and negotiation skills and patience and, as I mentioned, like self-regulation and time management and accountability, like, honey, hire a mom. That's what moms do. That's what moms are. Like, leadership at work is really not that different from leadership at home. And so my call to mothers, because it is mothers, this whole conversation is about moms on the shaming side, on the judgment side, on the silencing side, on the self-censorship side. Like, this is a insular mom thing. So it's really about women and women talking to women. I think we've come so far as women in terms of supporting one another, empowering one another, not gatekeeping, celebrating each other, encouraging each other. Like, sometimes I genuinely feel like girl world and like day-to-day society is like the girls' bathroom on a night out. Like, we actually have managed to expand it out really, really far in my experience. Like, girls will like compliment one another, will support one another, will say like, "Hey, where did you get that?" And someone will tell you, or will just encourage each other at work, will support each other with like their side hustles. Like, there's just so much wonderful support for women with other women right now. But I think this little slice in the mom world, we haven't quite got there yet. In a lot of ways, we have, because I think in sharing the struggles, you're helping other women. In sharing what works for you to manage those struggles, you're helping other women and other moms, like mom hacks and all those things. Like, there's a lot of positives too, where we are helping and empowering one another. It really is when it comes to not being able to celebrate the successes of other women in an area that we might be struggling with as it relates to motherhood. That is the one piece. And I just think we just need to listen and celebrate in those moments and still support each other in the challenging moments and lift each other up when someone's struggling. Like, all of that needs to exist still, and celebrating the joy that other women have needs to re-enter the conversation. But if you are a woman who is not yet a mother, who is considering motherhood, who, like me, is or was super fearful of what it would do, how it would impact your life, what your experience would be like, if you're worried, oh my God, based on everything I've seen on TikTok or Instagram, like, I feel like if I get this wrong, I'm getting it really wrong. And oh my gosh, this is such a huge decision. And have I just blown up my life if I go ahead with it? If that is your anxiety brain, if that's you, if that's your worry while you're considering motherhood, I just want to talk you off the ledge a little bit. Okay. So, first things first, I think everyone's experience of motherhood is impacted by a lot of different factors in their life. And so, when you're thinking about this, you also need to remember which factors are true for you and which ones are not true for you. Okay? So, I think as a baseline, a base of what I think would constitute, overall, I think you're probably going to have a pretty okay time with motherhood. I think there's three factors that matter. The first is financial stability. Are you able to put food on your table every night? Are you able to buy baby supplies? Are you able to pay your mortgage? If you can do these things, maybe you want to have an education fund for your kid. If you have some financial stability and security and can afford a baby, that is number one. That's going to make your experience of motherhood a lot less stressful than another mother who maybe doesn't have that stability and security. It is really hard, I would imagine, to have a baby and not be able to make ends meet at the same time. That is so much stress. So, number one, do you have that financial stability? Number two, do you have a partner? If you are in a partnership and are seeking a partnership and like a situation where you're co parenting with a spouse, do you have a partner who is ready and capable and you believe confidently can step into a role of a loving and supportive caregiver to that baby and you? They are safe, they are loving, they are able to share the mental load. Um, and like, you might think, maybe, yeah, I don't know. This is a conversation you should probably have before you have kids, probably before you're married if you're still not yet married, because it's such a big deal. Having a partner who can support you in this parenthood journey and can do it alongside you and with you, make or break, in my opinion. Like, when I had our son and I had a C-section, I literally couldn't get out of bed for like a week. And it was like we agreed, like, my job was to take care of the baby, my husband's job was to take care of me. And it's like that was the triage. Like, that's how we did it. And if you don't have a spouse who can be by your side, is that supportive, or when you want to divide and conquer with baby responsibilities or waking up during the nights, or knows and understands that it's important for you to see friends or have time to yourself as well, like, Those things are so key, and that comes from your partnership. So if you're choosing to have a baby alone and that's what you want for yourself, totally different story, live your life. But if you're thinking of, is my partner ready and do I think I'm going to have a supportive person by my side? Like, you should really, really evaluate that before you choose to have children. And maybe you look at your partner and they're not that person, and maybe you still want kids. Find a partner who could be that person for you, because it's just so important to your well-being and your mental well-being and navigating parenthood overall. Third is really self-reflective and internal. Like, are you ready to become a parent? Your life does change completely. It's no longer about you. There's no longer like, oh, we can just like grab quick drinks on a Wednesday or whatever. Like, oh, we can spontaneously travel to this city next weekend. Like, there's not a lot of spontaneity, and there's a lot of routine, and there's a lot of grounded time at home with your newborn, with your baby. And it's like, are you ready for your life to look like that? So maybe that depends a little bit on your age or your maturity. Like, if you really wanted to travel or have fun or party or whatever you want to do, like, have you done that? Do you feel like you've scratched that itch and you've had that time and space? If you haven't wanted that and you're ready to jump right into this, great. Like, there's just an element of readiness for routine and life being about a baby that requires you to just like think on whether or not you are ready for your life to change in that way. Um, have you done a little bit of inner work? Like, do you know your triggers? Do you know how to be like to calm yourself down in moments where you're high stress? Have you looked at have you thought about how you'd like to parent, or how your parents parented you and what that means for you? How you want to show up as a mom? Um, there's a lot of self-reflection that you need to do to make sure that you've thought it through, that you're ready in your time of life at your age, um, with your emotional maturity and capacity that you can take this on, because it is a big deal. And so, baseline, if you've got financial stability, a solid partner, and you're ready, I think that's going to allow you to navigate so much of motherhood with a lot more ease than a lot of people who don't have those things or haven't been able to secure those three things beforehand. So think about that. Number one. Obviously, I don't feel like I need to caveat this, but it's like, obviously that doesn't guarantee everything's going to be easy. Obviously, it doesn't mean nothing's going to be hard. For sure. I just think having those three things in place will set you up for a lot more success in motherhood than if you didn't have. And of course, you can still enjoy motherhood in the inverse if you don't have a partner, and if you are struggling financially. It doesn't mean you won't love your kids and you won't love that journey. Again, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying these are really strong factors that can make it a lot less stressful. But yeah, to tell you about my experience with motherhood, as I mentioned, it's just so much better than I anticipated. And I just wish there was a me that I heard before I had this baby that was like, "It's so good. It's so fun. It's so incredible." And like, you can't even really describe the how and the why of how incredible it is, which makes it hard. But it's like, we need more voices talking about how freaking cool and incredible it is to have a baby. There's just like these micro moments in the day, and like everything is so funny. If he makes a noise, if he does a stumble, when he's trying to crawl, when he smiles, like everything he does makes me so happy. And I'm like so in love with him. And even when I have a day where I'm so exhausted by the end of it, just because it does demand a lot of your energy, he'll like nuzzle on my shoulder and like make a cute coo. And I'm like, oh, everything's fine again. Like, that was all worth it. And like describing it, it sounds like it wouldn't be true, but it is. It just like puts everything back to zero of like, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember, like, this is fine. This day was hard and this is the best thing I've ever done. And the way I would describe motherhood, again, it's beautiful, it's incredible, it's joyous. It allows you to evolve into such a different person, such an expansive person that has so much more understanding of your intuition and your attunement and your capacity. Um, and the flip side is it is very demanding, I would say. It is demanding of your energy, of your time, of your calm, of your patience, of your presence. And like really what it comes down to, I think the tough parts of it is like it's an energy and regulation game. If you can store, conserve, have energy, and you're able to regulate your nervous system and your mood, that's like 90% of it. And I try and think about it as like lines of defense. So like first is like your energy. Your energy is what like drives you for a big part of the day and a big part of like the demands. Like so much of it is attention, care, you're picking them up, you're playing with them, you're taking them for walks, you're taking them to mommy and me classes, whatever. There's a lot of energy. If they're crying, you're supporting them, you're rubbing their back. Like all of that is taking your energy. Once your energy is depleted, it moves into like step 2, which is like the regulation piece. That is when you do your deep breathing, you find your calm, you're trying to like dig deep to be able to regulate and keep your cool once your energy is gone and you still need to show up and you still need to care give when something's challenging. And then your third line of defense is your support system. Can I pass my baby off to my husband while I go take a break? I need to go take a shower. I need to take a nap. I'm depleted. I've drained my energy and my regulation skills. And now I moved into my support person who is hopefully starting from 100. So I can go fill up and restore my energy levels to come back stronger. So that's when you like tap out to like regain 1 and 2 of energy and regulation ability. That's kind of how I see it. It's like your baby is demanding these things from you. You're moving through your lines of defense. You've got support, and then you bring it back up and you kind of start all over again in the hard moments. But the other thing that really helps me when I think about it that way is I'm giving my energy to my baby. Like my energy is not gone. I gave that time and attention and energy to my baby. It helped them grow. It helped their brain evolve and make connections. Like my playing with them, my loving them, my supporting them, it's helping them grow. It's almost like your energy is like their brain food. You're feeding your baby in a different way. And so when I think about it as like not like, oh, like I've just been drained of my energy today, it's like, no, I nourished my child with my energy today, and now I need to go sleep and catch up so I can do it again tomorrow. I don't know if that's helpful. I think it's helpful in terms of just thinking about capacity when you're getting through the tough stuff, and then it's just trying to soak in all the joy that is still happening every day, all these different moments that sustain in such a different way when it comes to being a mom. Yeah, like, it's the best. I love it. I can't wait to have another baby. We're definitely gonna try for another baby, not right away, but, like, I like the idea of having 2 and having a girl, hopefully, and just having a boy and a girl. That would just be the best. But, yeah, I guess my message today is from personal experience and from what I hear from so many other moms, it's motherhood is so incredible. I wish I knew how incredible it was. I wish people talked more about how incredible it was. It is shown in such a negative light. Not that there aren't hard moments, but they are just so far, 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 far outweighed by the good moments. And if you've got protective factors, if you've got support, if you have, just the awareness of yourself that you feel ready and you think you want this. I know it's hard to know if you want it or not unless you're like a hell yes or a hell no person, but I just hope you weigh the joy the way it deserves to be weighted, which is tenfold the negative. And I'll tell you that, and most moms will tell you that. There are obviously moms who don't feel that way. They struggle. Maybe they don't have as positive an experience with motherhood, but I would say they are the exception to the rule in most cases. And when you think about some of the challenges, and even some of the challenges I've like wrapped my head around, or the other weird thing too, like I was really fearful of certain things. Like I have misophonia, which is like immediate irate anger to certain sounds and like chewing or tapping. Like it drives me insane when I hear those sounds. I can't handle it. And I was so fearful that when I became a mom, I would like hate the sounds of baby toys because I don't like them. They're repetitive, they're annoying. I don't enjoy that. And like babies make a lot of sounds. And I was just worried that it would irritate me. It would like grind on me. And it's like it went away in the context of being a mom. Like we have annoying toys, they don't bother me. My baby crying doesn't really bother me because I'm like, "Oh, my baby." Um, the toys, he bangs on the table all the time, he bangs on his high chair. If that was in any other context, I would lose my mind, but it doesn't happen. Like there's this weird protective love force field around anything to do with him that I didn't think was going to exist, which is why I thought other things about becoming a mom would be hard. And then when I got here, they weren't hard. And so that's the other thing I wanna say. It's like certain things might surprise you. You might think, "Oh, I really won't enjoy this thing." And then when it's your baby, it's like it makes no impact. It has no bearing on your mood or your energy. It's so cool and weird. But also with that, like, everything's a season. Even if you are going through tough things and, like, we've definitely gone through some hard sleep things, um, reminding yourself that everything is a season and it's here and then it'll be gone for better or for worse. It's really helpful to put things into context. Like, there's some nights where I'm like, "I'm so exhausted." And then, like, that very same night, I'm like, "I can't believe I won't be able to rock him to sleep for very much longer." Like, it's not gonna be forever that I can do that. Um, like, not having your body not feeling like yours, being touched out, like, that is something that is hard and is a season, but I know that there's gonna be a day where I'm going to miss breastfeeding or I'm gonna miss being able to hold him, like, I do miss elements of, like, being pregnant, like, there's so much beauty in that, and sleep, like, I miss sleep so much right now, but I know one day it's coming back, like, it's all temporary, and reminding yourself of that, like, there's this quote, and it's so true, it's like, "The days are long, but the years are short," and that is just, like, the truest thing with motherhood for me, and, like, I just try and remind myself of that all the time, like, my son's gonna be 1 in a couple of months, and I already can't believe how quickly that went by, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, you're not gonna be a baby forever, and this season doesn't last forever, and even though there's tough moments, this has been, like, the best year of my life, and I hope that we just start celebrating and being able to talk about how cool and great some of these experiences in motherhood really are." Well, I hope maybe this shifted your idea of motherhood and the branding. I think it needs a little bit of a positive rebrand, and maybe I've pitched it a little bit of how we can do that. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you like this episode, please feel free to leave a 5-star review or a comment. It really helps me grow the show. Let me know your thoughts on Instagram, send me a DM, but otherwise, I will see you next week.